This is the Purple for the Win podcast.
Great cash, homie.
With the seventh selection in the 2005 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Troy Williamson.
Now checking for his hands, and the Redskins will go to the Super Bowl.
Barnes got 5 to choose from. Got hit, got thrown down, and is shaken up.
As he shoots the moon to the fans here in Green Bay.
That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
Gary Anderson has missed a field goal for the first time in 2 years. Unbelievable.
So like we talked about in an earlier video when PFF threw the Vikings free agency class underneath the bus, that's whatever. We're used to being disrespected by the national media, jabroni haircuts. That's okay. That's okay. But then you go to the national outlet, NFL.com, which is 132nd owned by the Vikings. And it's just so amazing to see the constant poo-pooing of the Vikes. And I don't get it, man. So NFL power rankings are up. Our guy Dan Hanzus, the Zeuser, who is a noted Jets fan. So maybe that's part of the reason, because the Vikings and the Jets had the dumbest rivalry in sports history. We saved you from Kirk Cousins and Anthony Barr, bro. Show some love. But you think, okay, so the Vikings off-season, free agency, Danielle Hunter, hopefully he's going to be back. Michael Pierce is back for the first time. So it's like, okay, so maybe the Vikings, maybe they'll creep into the top 12. Like, I'm not thinking top 10, top 5. I understand the national media bias against the Vikings. It's certainly there, right? But, wow. Down in an earlier round. Sugar, we're going down trying to find the damn Vikings. Oh, 17-1-7. NC 17. Crap. Really? So previous ranking 20. Oh, the Garla. You gave us a little love. Congratulations. Previous rank 20. The signing of Patrick Peterson brings a much needed veteran presence to a green secondary that was exposed consistently in 2020. The question is how much Peterson has left in the tank. He has the enters his 11th season. Not much. The 3-time All-Pro didn't look like the same player. In his final year, the Cardinals racked up 10 penalties, tied for second most in the NFL. He had 12. While struggling in coverage, Peterson 30 can be an asset, but his days of living on an island against opponent's number one receiver appear to be over. That's why he struggled. Because the Arizona Cardinals were too stupid and there's too much hubris involved. Oh, we'll just put him on wide receiver 1. Set and forget. No. He can be a damn fine cornerback 2. He needs help. He's not that guy anymore, nor is he going to be. There's a reason, like we said, $8 million with $2 million incentives as opposed to $15-16 million per year, like a top flight, carnivorous, top of the food chain cornerback. He ain't that guy anymore. But, we're just going to completely ignore Diesel Dalvin Tomlinson in the middle of that Vikings defense, just shoring up the run. That was just such a massive hole last year. Oh, and Michael Pierce coming back from his COVID opt-out. So we're just going to ignore 700 pounds of granite of meat. Arby's, we got the meats right in the middle of that defense, huh? We're going to do that. Plus, Danielle, the real deal Hunter, one of the best, if not the best edge rusher in the game. Plus, phenomenal against the run, setting the edge. We're just going to ignore that the Vikings have completely revamped 3/4 of their offensive line, huh? Just going to do that. Plus, Anthony Barr is back on a 1-year deal. He doesn't really get the time of day from fans, but whatever. He's solid. He's a leader. He wears that captaincy and that green dot for a reason. So you think that the guy who's a leader, a guy who gets the defense lined up every single down, is like him coming back and actually playing a full season in all likelihood, hopefully, that's not going to factor in. Or Eric Kendricks being fully healthy after that weird random leg injury that he had against the Jaguars in pregame warm-ups, huh? So, yeah, the whole defense that was torched. That was one of the worst in the league last year. All of a sudden, they get good bodies back. They bring in some solid guys on defense. Nick Vigil, Patrick Peterson, Xavier Woods. Okay, we'll just ignore that. Sure. Offensively, hopefully the offensive line finally gets fixed. I think the Vikings are all in, so I'm anticipating some big-time moves on the offensive line. Hey, Austin Blythe. Hey, all in on the Orlando Brown trade. Hey, Darisaw, Slater, AVT, I don't care. Someone, no matter what. And then the offense is finally going to get modernized as Kubiak Jr. steps in for the dad. So, yeah, the 1947 offense, back when teams were doing the Charleston. Wait, that was the 20s. Doesn't matter. That's what Gary Kubiak's offense was. No. Because guess what? When you hit rock bottom like the Vikings did last year, you bounce. Plus, you have one of the best young up-and-coming wide receivers in the league in Justin friggin' Jefferson. You have Adam Thielen, who's all of a sudden become Spider-Man in the red zone. You have Kirk Cousins, who's had the best 2 years of his career. Minus the first 6 games of 2020. With the new offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, when he was quarterback's coach. Woo! Let's go. Plus, oh, by the way, you have Dalvin Cook, the second best running back in the league. Respect to King Henry. What up? So, yeah, we're just going to ignore all of that, huh? 17. My goodness. But teams ahead of the Vikings. Like, look at this crap. Look at this emaciation. So, 10, Steelers. Really? Big Ben. Everyone's so excited. It's like, Big Ben's coming back for one more year. Big Ben was ass last year, man. Like, it was weekend at Bernie's. Like, they were just carrying his ass along. And, you re-signed Juju for 1 year at $8 million. I don't care. What, Chase Claypool, can we kick it? Yes, you can. They couldn't run the ball last year. Their offensive line got gutted. Their defense is fine up front with Hayward and Watt, but I don't know. Everything else, really. They're the most fraudulent 11-0 team in NFL history, and they got exposed by that ass whooping. The Browns are going to whip somebody's ass, even with the Kevin Stefanski in his basement chilling. Great. So they're at 10. 9, the Rams. So, yeah, I like Matthew Stafford, but all this media jabroni haircut overhype, it's just ridiculous. It's beyond the pale. I understand that you have big-time quarterback movement. Matthew Stafford, former number 1 overall pick in 2009, and L.A., they're just trying to establish a beachhead in L.A., trying to hold on to that market. So I understand the overhyping of Matthew Stafford, the overhyping of Justin Herbert. I get it from a marketing standpoint. But remind me again what Matthew Stafford has ever done in his career besides throw for a bazillion yards and wasting the career of a first ballot Hall of Famer Calvin Johnson, huh? What about it? Like, people acting like he's the second coming of Tom Brady, but he's never won the division. He's never won a playoff game. But he had a bad team. Please, look at what Russell Wilson has done for years with the Seahawks. That is a booty team. And the Lions teams on paper have had a lot more talent than some of these recent Seahawks teams. So I don't want to hear it. Matthew Stafford is not that dude. He ain't. So congratulations, Ram. 9. Speaking of which, Seahawks, 8. Really. So Russ is unhappy. I mean, they're trying to fix the offensive line. Yeah. But you also lost Shaquille Griffin and Jaron Reed. You had to cut. Okay. I mean, this is an XFL team besides Russ, Lockett, and DK. It really is. I mean, you got Bobby Wagner aging out. Same case with KJ Wright. Cool. Congratulations. I don't get it. Like, the game has passed Pete and Schneider by, but hey, it's a good thing that you signed both of them up to big-time extensions. Yeah, Vikings found that out last offseason. 6. Ooh. The Saints. Really? So, I understand that Drew Brees was a hauled-out just corpse of himself last year. Like, he was one of those corn cobs that you get in November, like the deer are feeding on, just like dried out. Great. Drew Brees retires. They're still in cap hell. They maneuvered their way around it. Great. But you really have that much faith in Jameis, huh? That much faith in Jameis and fullback playing quarterback Taysom Hill? Cool. And again, well, look what happened on Christmas. Everyone whooped the Vikings' ass last year. I don't care. But it's all smoke and mirrors. Like, the Saints are not players. They're pretenders. They're overrated, overhyped. They're a trash-ass football team. But 6. Really. And then next up, 3. So the greasy, grimy Green Bay Packers, led by their alleged MVP last year, the octogenarian Bird Bones Boniva. That's really what's going to happen. You threw a bunch of money at Aaron Jones. You had to let go of a bunch of your free agents. You're certainly not going to draft a wide receiver at the top of the draft again. Okay, sure. You re-signed Kevin King. How'd you give $6 million to Kevin King? Hopefully you wrote that off as a charitable donation. My goodness. But okay. 3. I mean, 3 is technically slotted where the NFC Championship game loser is going to be. So that sort of makes sense. But I understand it's a March power ranking. We shouldn't get this worked up, but it's passion, man. It's passion. Because 17 up from 20 like they're doing us a favor. Okay, just added to the list. General Manager Rick Spielman and the Minnesota Fighting Vikings have been wheeling and dealing in free agency this offseason. They're building a bully to go after Jerome Barty in 2021. Signed Diesel Dalvin Tomlinson to solidify the interior defensive line. Linebacker Nick Candlelight Vigil, adding some linebacker depth. Also signing former All-Pro cornerback Patrick Peterson and signing Mac Alexander, just really getting that cornerback room up to snuff. Plus the signing of safety Xavier Woods, as well as trading for utility offensive lineman Mason Cole. But The Vikings are just missing that nail driver, pen in starting offensive lineman, probably guard since you're likely going to move Ezra Cleveland left tackle. And I know, we've been hyped about Trey Turner, we've been hyped about Forrest Lamp, respect, but I feel like deep down in my loins, the Vikings are an Austin Blythe signing away from having an absolute home run in free agency as opposed to a stand-up triple. And yes, he can play guard. Woo! The Rams center/guard would make this team damn near complete heading into the draft and allow them to go BPA. So let's talk about the pride of Iowa today. Austin Blythe turns 29 years old in June. 6'3", 298, was a 2016 7th-round pick by the Colts out of the University of Iowa. Ended up with the Rams in 2017 and has started for them the last 3 years, mainly at right guard and center. Was PFF 7th graded center in run blocking, 73.2 grade, as well as only allowed 29 pressures and 4 sacks in 2020. Blythe is frankly a lot like Garrett Bradbury, where he's undersized but smart, quick, great leader, and has the movement skills that the Vikings like. He's perfect for the outside zone scheme. And we talked about, well, maybe we'll get some 350-pound guards, but if the Vikings want to go down this route, I think Blythe will be a great option. And yes, you can play him at guard, you can play him at center, and then kick Bradbury over to guard, whatever. He really is like a souped-up version of Mason Cole. Mason Cole you like as your swing interior backup, him being the new Brett Jones. But if you want a starter, Austin Blythe is the guy. Last year, Blythe resigned with the Rams, a 1-year, $3.9 million deal. I think he's likely going to be in the $4, $5, $6 million a year range. And as of right now, the Vikings have around $7 million in cap space after signing Xavier Woods, as well as pending Mac Alexander's signing bonus. Now, maybe there is a wink-nudge deal on the table for after June 1st when the Vikings get the Rudy Cap windfall. They spend some of that on the draft class, and then, hey, Austin Blythe, here's the money, bro. Because it would be ominous if Blythe, a starting caliber offensive lineman, in a year where there's a need, big-time need for starting caliber offensive linemen around the league, just be chilling in free agency for 2 more months. Yeah, maybe something's going on. But if the Vikings added him even before the draft, this is the workings of a damn solid offensive line, one that could vault this offense into being top 5 in the league. Dynamic Dalvin Cook running things, as well as Kirk Cousins being protected, getting the ball to Justin Friggin Jefferson and company. Put Austin Blythe at guard or plant his ass at center and then move Bradbury. I don't care. I do not care. Or F it. Sign Blythe and Lamp. Woo! You have the cap space to go do it. Why not? But at minimum, adding Blythe will allow the Vikings to go BPA at 14 as opposed to having to draft interior offensive linemen early on. I love AVT, but would rather go BPA at 14 if the Vikings do stick and pick. So go get Austin Blythe. Like, this free agency class has been phenomenal, but we just need one more Infinity Stone. He's going to be the guy. And then the world and the league will be in ashes, or at least half of it. Go get this damn thing going. Free agency has been great so far, but offensive line, even though you got Mason Cole, get the nail driver, get Austin Blythe, and let's go in the draft, and let's go win a dozen Jerome Bardys in 10 years. Woo! Let's go. Minnesota Fighting Vikings have been extremely busy this offseason, adding to an already crowded defensive back room because Zimmer loves him some cornerbacks. Last year, they spent a 1.35 on Jeff Gladney, Cameron Tiny Dantzler, and Harrison 38 Special Hand, respectively. This year, they signed Patrick Friggin Peterson, as well as brought back Mac Alexander, and then signed safety Xavier Woods. So they're adding a lot of depth to a room last year, especially a cornerback that got exposed due to youth as well as due to injuries. But with more bodies and more talent, you have to wonder what the future of former first-round pick Mike Hughes is going to be. Hughes enters his 4th year with the team. They're extremely not likely to pick up his 5th-year option, that's for sure. And although they would have to eat $1.96 million in dead cap, they would free up $1.178 million in space by moving on. So is this for the former 2018 number 30 overall selection in purple? I think he's firmly on the roster bubble right now. Like, I don't think that it is a given that he is going to make this rooster. And it's unfortunate because he's talented as hell, but simply cannot stay healthy. Because as a rookie in 2018, remember, he actually beat out Mac Alexander for the starting slot cornerback job, which is extremely difficult. He played well for 6 games before tearing his ACL. Then he's had neck issues for the last 2 seasons. He's only played in 24 of the 50 games during his first 3 years. And he's not guaranteed a cornerback spot at all. You look, Dantzler, Peterson, Gladney, Mack. Those are going to be your solid first four. Then you have Hughes, Harrison Hand, Chris Boyd, Dylan Mabin fighting for the remnants. The Vikings may only carry 5 or 6 cornerbacks on the 53 this time around. And a move to safety for any of the cornerbacks, including Mike Hughes, might be off the table now with the signing of Xavier Woods. And we've said before, the only way that Mike Hughes might be able to stay on the rooster in 2021 is if he's healthy, of course, and if they turn him into a return specialist, both kicks and punts. Because Mike Hughes is a dynamic returner. I think it's the best part of his game. In 2017, for the national champion UCF Knights, Hughes averaged 31.8 yards per kick return, 5th best in NCAA, as well as 16.6 yards per punt return, which is 3rd best. And he also had 3 combined touchdowns on 34 total returns, and 8.82% touchdown rate is the NCAA record. Comparing him to Devin Hester at the U, who's the greatest punt returner of all time. In college, Mike Hughes had a higher yards per kick return, higher yards per punt return, as well as a higher return touchdown percentage. Okay, not bad when you're outperforming one of the greatest return men in football history. Just no big deal. 2019, Mike Hughes returned 14 punts for 7.4 yards per return, which would have qualified for 11th best in the NFL if he had qualified, and that was less than 1 year removed from his ACL. And Amir Abdullah has been decent as a kick returner, except you're under no illusion that he's in danger of busting one. As well as punt returner has been a major issue ever since Marcus Sherrills got older and retired. KJ Osborne, who's drafted in the 5th round to be that return specialist, was benched 3 times last year. Chad Beebe with his famous muff versus the Panthers, not great. So the Vikings need to find a solution, especially at punt returner as well as potentially kick returner. And Hughes could be that guy, and it could save his career. Because I think as of right now, Mike Hughes is a pretty big underdog to make the Vikings 53. Might be part of final cuts, might be traded somewhere. A team thinks, Mama, I can change him for like a conditional 7th round pick. Plus, I don't think the Vikings are out on drafting cornerbacks in the draft. Like, never put that past Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman. So this is it for Mike Hughes. This is an extremely important year. I think that his career hangs in the balance. He's extremely talented, and if he can stay healthy, he's got to bring it. And like we said, return specialist, do have, because the cornerback room is crowded, man. If he can be a return specialist who also moonlights in the cornerback room, fantastic. Focus on what he does best. Instead of what he can't do, focus on what he can do. Bring that. And he could still be a very important part of the 2021 Vikings as they push to hoist that Lombardi towards the end of the year. Woo! Let's get it going. Without fail, us Minnesota Fighting Vikings fans, whenever we start feeling our oats a little bit, just a little bit of chutzpah, a little bit of this team's going to be good. A dozen Lombardies in 10 years. The national media jabronis are just so good at just like cutting us down to size. Oh, the disrespect is real up in this motherfucker. Okay, but keep sleeping. Okay, we're making a list, checking it twice, going to find out who's douchey or nice. So, Pro Football Focus. Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with PFF. Respect all the analysts over there, but sometimes, man, I don't know, because the Vikings are in the middle of one of the best free agent off seasons in team history. And it's low key. Like, we're not talking about big time home runs, but we're talking about timely base hits. We're talking about manufacturing runs. And Dalvin Tomlinson, stand up triple. Patrick Peterson, solid shot to the gap. Maybe it's going to be extra bases. We don't know. Nick Vigil is being hit by pitch. Mac Alexander is a base hit up the middle. Xavier Woods is a seeing eye single. The trade for Mason Cole is a fielder's choice. So, hey, even though they're not home runs, they still count the same on the board face. But of course, PFF just has to poo-poo all over us. So all the national media Gironi outlets have been calling the Vikings off-season free agency average or slightly below average or B or C, whatever, even though C's get degrees, baby. Woo! I went to a state college. Let's dive in. Yeah. So I have a couple of issues. Of course, this is Festivus for the rest of us, basically. So Minnesota, start with Dalvin Tomlinson. My guy, 2 years, $21 million. It's a deal at twice the price. Well, not twice. You know what I mean. Tomlinson has Tomlinson profile is one of the better interior defenders available on the market this offseason. He came in as the highest ranked player at the position. PFF for followed Giants' decision to franchise tag his teammate Leonard Williams. Tomlinson is coming off a career high 74.6 pass rushing grade in 2020, but he has really shined as a run stuffer in the middle of the New York Giants. Blah, 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 blah. Minnesota will now have 2 big run first defensive linemen into 2020 free agent signing. Opt out Michael Pierce to return to the defense. Vikings should have a little trouble controlling the last scrimmage against the run with both of those players on the field, which allows more freedom and coverage. However, there is also little pass rushing threat up front from this current group beyond what Danielle Hunter brings. Blah, 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 blah. The overlap between Pierce and Tomlinson on a unit that could use a disruptive pass rushing threat at 3-tech or edge defender opposite Danielle Hunter pushes what is otherwise solid value for a player of Tomlinson's caliber to just an average deal. So, their main argument is, hey, Dalvin Tomlinson's really good against the run. And of course, PFF, we poo-poo the run. So anyone who ipso facto stops the run is degraded in value. As Micah Pearson and Dalvin Tomlinson overlap in skill set. Who cares? Who cares? Like, we found this out last year when we talked about our wide receiver rankings in the drafts. Like, oh, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, there's a little bit too much skill overlap there. How would it work? Oh, it worked. It worked out pretty damn good. And, this does not eliminate or exclude the fact that the Vikings will still bring in that disruptive 3-tech. We're talking about a Levi Onwuzurike. We're talking about Jalen Twyman, a Lee McNeil, Darius Stills. Like, they could still come in and platoon and be that dude. Or James Lynch. Hell. Plus, everyone's sleeping on Stephen Weatherly. I mean, he's solid, decent. Plus, everyone is completely asleep, comatose about DJ Wanham year 2. Woo! You could make a good case that besides Chase Young last year, DJ Wanham was the most effective rookie edge rusher, and he's still getting his feet wet. He's still learning the NFL game. I'm very bullish on DJ Wanham year 2. Plus, the Vikings can still draft premium edge talent, man. You got 10 draft picks. If Kwity Paye is the guy at 14, so be it. Let's go. Woo! Let's go hunt. And then Patrick Peterson. Of course. Oh, yeah, and talk about stopping the run. That was the major downfall of the Vikings defense last year, is that, it wasn't all about, hey, we couldn't get a pass rush. It was all about, hey, the other teams are picking up first downs, or it's 3rd and 2 as opposed to 3rd and 9. And those success rates are just infinitely easier for the offense as opposed to being stuck behind the 8 ball. So the Vikings are able to stop the run on first down, on second down, etc. Just imposing of the will, chewing up the clock, wearing down of the defense. Like, that's where it all started last year. After Michael Pierce opted out, the Vikings didn't do anything to effectively replace him. They're like, Shamar Stephen's good. Jaleel Johnson's good. We'll call it a day. No, not so much. So Diesel, Dalvin Tomlinson, great price, great value, at a major position need on that defense. Spanked it. A+. Average? Shoot. Get out of here. Patrick Peterson. 1 year, $8 million plus $2 million in incentives. Great. Average. Peterson grew into one of the game's top cornerbacks since entering the league as a 5th overall selection, 2011, blah, blah, blah. They made a lot about his PED suspension, but we'll get into that in a separate video. From 2011 to 2018, Peterson's blah, 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 blah. Basically, they're saying he's not the player he used to be. Well, no poop. No poop. There's a reason why he's signing here for $8 million plus $2 million in not likely to be earned incentives, as opposed to getting $15 million a year on a 4-year contract, right? Vikings are betting on the upside, continuing the baseball analogies because 'tis the season, baby. We're playing Moneyball. It's like when the Oakland A's signed David Justice. They're just trying to squeeze out the last drops of ball out of him. Like, they're under no illusion that he was David Justice of the Yankees or David Justice of the Braves. No. I'm under no illusion that Patrick Peterson is that true travel cornerback 1 of 2011, of 2015, of 2016. He's not. He is not. There's a reason why he's on a relatively cheap deal and was available at that stage of free agency. And there's a reason why his agent had to actually call the Vikings. But he's a hell of a pickup. He is. And Peterson joins a young quarterback room. Still talking about Mike Hughes. But no, Cameron Tiny Dantzler, Jeff Gladney, you got Mac Alexander back, and you got Patrick Peterson. As long as Zimmer checks his ego and doesn't just be like, I have to leave him on an island. I have to let him cover half of the field all by himself with no safety help and no bracket help. No. That was the downfall of him in Arizona last year. That's why he racked up 12 penalties, because Arizona just... Whether it's the defensive coordinator, whether it was Patrick Peterson himself, it's like, I got this. You don't got this. No, everyone has to check their egos and be like, this is what you can still do. This is what you cannot do. We need to focus on this. And if we think that you're Patrick Peterson of 10 years ago, we're going to be disappointed. We will be. So average, shoot. And of course, this doesn't even factor in Vigil, who I think is going to be a borderline starter. I think he could be that 3rd linebacker with Troy Dye. Plus, Mac Alexander is back. He's going to provide some depth plus knowledge of the scheme at cornerback. Xavier Woods is low-key great signing. Love the versatility opposite of Harrison Smith. Plus, takes safety as a major draft need off the table. So, again, we're just adding to the list. We're just adding to the list. It's like, okay, Sure, Vikings fans, you should feel good about this low-key, phenomenal free agent class. And then you're going to spank it in the draft. We're going to absolutely hit a bunch of nail drivers. 10 future Hall of Famers. Woo! And then go 17-0. Hoist that Jerome Barty for the first time. That sticky Jerome Barty. And then 11 more in the next 9 years. Math. Let's go. But PFF, sure. Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll remember this. Don't worry about it. What's going on, Jerome's? We're back. Take a look at another mock draft. Back at it again after the big time trade shakeup with the Niners and the Dolphins and the Eagles. Just Yankee swap, moving all over the board. It doesn't really affect the Vikings, as you'll see. But running through this, Josh Edwards, CBS Sports. Gow. Number 1, Trevor Lawrence. Yes. It's kind of boring at this point. I mean, I don't know. Can we get a Zach Wilson at 1? Nah. 2, Jets. Yes, the Sam Darnold era is over. Zach Wilson, I think, solidified it with his pro day. Even though, shocking, Zach Wilson can throw. It's like we didn't know that. Anyway, like him and Salah, him and Mike LaFleur together, really trying to rebuild Gang Green. 3, so the Niners came all the way up, and they want whoever is left. Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, and I think Fields is in a great spot with Shanahan in San Francisco. He's got that movement skills, got big-time arm as well. I think that Shanahan will cater to his strengths, and this is a really damn good team. You got Ayuk, you have Debo, you have George Kittle. Let's go. Let's go, man. 4, Broncos. Ooh! Move up from 9 to 4. George Payton getting it done. Drew Lock is not his guy. Trey Lance, no pants, absolutely zero pants or coverage for down there for the pride of NDSU, the pride of Marshall, Minnesota. So regional fan, Fair will come in. Plus, he will win the job. He will beat Drew Lock his rookie season. Plus, that offense is low-key pretty damn loaded. You got Garrett Bowles. You got Juwan James. Hopefully, Dalton Reiser can turn into something, as well as Cortland Sutton. Oh, Jerry Jeudy. Oh, Hamler time. Oh, marvelous Mike Boone, who's going to beat out stupid Melvin Gordon, stupid Badger, as well as Noah Fant. Let's go. Let's get some. Plus, Pat Shurmur calling the shots. Come on, man. Shurmur's going to take over after they fire Fangio's ass midseason. You just watch. You just watch. 5, so the Bengals have their choice of anyone except for quarterback, which is great since they already got their QB in Joe Burrow. But they go Rashawn Slater. Oh, a little bit of a surprise there. But Slater is a little bit more polished than Penei Sewell, but Penei Sewell obviously has a big physical upside. And we said that Slater, if he was 6'7" like his dad with long arms, he would have been the first tackle very easily, but still is in this spot. I think the Bengals, primo, number 1, protect Joe Burrow, put him at left tackle. They have Reef at right tackle, and then kick Jonah Williams, the former number 11 overall pick, inside. You have the makings of a decent offensive line coming together. 6, so the Dolphins, I actually think that the Dolphins and the Eagles both won their trade downs because they got a player in their respective spots that they would have taken where they begin with in the first place. So Kyle Pitts, they move down from 3 to 6. They get a future first-round pick, and they still get Kyle Pitts, man. Where they're all in on Tua, and Kyle Pitts and Mike Gesicki together, plus Devontae Parker, plus Preston Williams. Yeah. Oh, plus Will Fuller. Woo, forgot about that. Let's go. Let's go, Dolphins. Next up, 7. So you got Jamar Chase coming on into Detroit, where they lost Kenny Golladay, they lost Marvin Jones, and now, the Lions take another wide receiver, but Jamar Chase is a bad dude. He really is, and it sucks because now we have to contend with him twice a year, but what can you do? 8. So we thought that the big losers in this draft were the Panthers because they're going to be priced out of quarterbacks in all likelihood unless they move up like the Broncos did when they were at 9. But Penei Sewell, no matter what, yeah, I mean, if it's a lot like last year when they were sitting at 7, then Derek Brown just fell to them. Derek Brown's a hell of a player. Penei Sewell is the same thing. Plus, put him in at left tackle. Him and Taylor Moton on the franchise tag row the boat. Phenomenal tackle duo for Teddy, and maybe they get Kellen Mond or Jamie Newman or Davis Mills in the day 2 area. Sure. 9. So the Patriots, yeah, the Falcons trade down again, and Brad Holmes just gathering up a bunch of picks. So Belichick, moving on up. Now, they could make a play for Jimmy G if San Francisco doesn't want to hang on to him, which I think could be in the cards. But they re-sign Cam on a 1-year deal, but Mac Jones is going to be that future. And trading up to get Mac, the Belichick-Saban connection is strong. He knows exactly what type of quarterback he's getting. And Mac Jones, I mean, the Tom Brady parallels have been there, where I think Mac Jones at this stage of his career is a great distributor. If he can develop into something more, awesome. But he can sit behind Cam for a year. Maybe he eventually takes over the job, but the Patriots are going for it, man. I like it. 10. So the Cowboys just see all this nonsense. They have choice of all the cornerbacks, and they take Surtain. So they go Bama at cornerback over J.C. Horn, over Caleb Farley, but him and Trevon Diggs getting together, plus Jordan Lewis in the slot. That's a nice cornerback trio. 11, so the Giants. Gettleman. Get him Micah Parsons, absolute physical freak in the middle of that defense. And this was a BPA pick. I mean, they could have gone wide receiver, except they got Galladay. And yeah, Micah is just really too good of a talent to pass up. 12. So like we said, I mean, the Eagles probably would have taken Waddle at 6 if Jamar Chase wasn't there. But yeah, I mean, they certainly would have taken him been fine with him. So getting him at 12 and getting a future first-round pick, you're okay with that. So the Eagles get a dynamic speed demon wide receiver, pairing him up with Jalen Reagor, the first-round pick last year at TCU. That's not a bad trade-down. And Jalen Hurts is going to be the guy for a year, see if he can get it done, and then go on with life. 13. So the Chargers address offensive line heavily in free agency. So they are freed up to go after other needs, and cornerback is one of them. J.C. Horn, absolute freak from South Carolina. He's got the length, he's got the size, he's got the speed, and yeah, in a division with the Chiefs, you definitely need some good wide receivers. And also, you'll see what happens with the Raiders too. Yeah, you're going to need some cornerbacks. I said wide receivers, meant cornerbacks, whatever. 14. So the Vikings. Another mock draft, another time the Vikings take Gregory Rousseau, and it's really starting to become like last year when the Vikings at 25, Yetur Gross-Matos, AJ Epinesa. But I like Rousseau. I like him. I'm not in love with him. I'm not fully sold on him yet. For me, he would be edge rusher 3 in this class behind Kwity Paye and Azeez Ojulari. But Rousseau's good, man. But it's a lot of betting on potential. It's a lot like Christian Barmore, where he is young and he's 1 year of major production, even though, yes, 15.5 sacks in one season. But you can bring him in. You can play him at edge on early downs. You can play him inside on passing downs. You can do whatever you want with him. But there's a lot left on the board, man. And the Vikings will face this problem if they can't trade down. So Rousseau, I get it. Or AVT is on board. He can cinch up that offensive line. Christian Darrisaw is my man. Just pick him up and you're good to go. Cosme's on board too, sure. But, man. Plus, Caleb Farley's there. I know he's going to get dinged for his medicals, but he's an absolute nail driver. I think he might be too much value. Plus, Devontae Smith is on board. Wow. Like, really going to pass on Devontae Smith, pairing him up with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen for the long haul? Come on. Plus, Kwity Paye is there. F you, pay me? Come on. Yeah. 15. Falcons building from the offensive line out, protecting Matt Ryan as they trying to get a couple of good years out of him. So they get AVT, him and Chris Lindstrom, really nice guard combination going forward. 16. So Caleb Farley falls, and he is going to get dinged because of the medicals and because Surtain and Horn showed up great at their pro days, but it's whatever. Caleb Farley is a bad dude, man. So, yeah, the Cardinals get absolute value here, replacing Patrick Peterson. 17. How's this happen? Like, how do the Raiders just get Devontae Smith? It's like, whatever. We get Devontae Smith. Although they should take Darrisaw and rebuild that offensive line that they gutted. But Devontae Smith and Henry Ruggs back together, Bama, that's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Whoever the Raiders quarterback eventually is going to be, because it's not going to be Derek Carr long term. 18. So the Dolphins, they got toys for Tua at 6, and now they get Kwity Paye. And Brian Flores just needs that consistent edge presence, and he's going to be that dude. 19, Christian Darrisaw. Like we said, they've never fully replaced Trent Williams, so he comes in and plant his ass at left tackle for the next 12 to 15 years. Stays in the DMV area. It's a great pick. 20. So speaking of guys staying in the area, so Greg Newsome stays in the Chicagoland area, and they let go of Kyle Fuller, but him and Jalen Johnson, Newsome and Johnson, is going to be a really nice cornerback tandem for years to come, which kind of sucks. But hey, good luck trying to keep up with Justin Jefferson. And we could have had Devontae Smith too, but no. Colts. So you think the Colts should go after offensive tackle help since they haven't addressed it in free agency, whether it be Tevin Jenkins, whether it be Sam Cosmi, whether it be Leatherwood, whatever. But yeah, Ballard always likes to go BPA. It seems like Jalen Phillips, heavy hands and length on the defensive line, potential Justin Houston replacement. So I get it. 22. So you have to replace your first round right tackle after 1 year, but hopefully Tevin Jenkins, doesn't flake out like Isaiah Wilson did. But Tevin Jenkins is a bad dude, man. Absolute just aggro, just getting after at right tackle. I love the attitude. Him and Taylor Lewan, Bookends. Like it. 23. So the Jets land Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, where Robert Saleh gets them to, well, you got your quarterback. You got your quarterback at 2. So now getting Joke, the true money backer, linebacker, heat-seeking missile at safety as well. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of fun for Robert Saleh, putting him in the middle of that defense. 24. So I love this pick. Or I'm pretty bullish on Landon Dickerson despite the injury. Like, I'm ready to go. Like, if he's going to be a late first-round pick, I am in. And this is a great meat potatoes. Like, I'm trying to think of matching up a player with a team, with a fan base, with a mentality. Dickerson with the Steelers is absolutely it. Replacing Marquise Pouncey, who retired, and the Steelers need to try to protect Big Ben, his decrepit ass, as well as get something going in the run game, which is non-existent last year. So Dickerson, yeah, man, I get it. 25. So you think that the Jaguars maybe will get Trevor Lawrence some weapons, but no, defense needs some help too. So Moehrig on the back end of that defense is going to be that sheriff. I really do like Trevor Moehrig. 26. So the Browns' interior defensive line, you could go edge here with Myles Garrett, but you sign Takk McKinley, hopefully trying to revive his career. But Sheldon Richardson is aging out, plus you lost on Larry Ogunjobi left in free agency. So you need some defensive line help, and Christian Barmore, you're betting on potential, man. He can be a rotational guy year 1, and it's a perfect spot for him. 27. Ravens finally get some wide receiver help, and Terrace Marshall Jr. is like, oh yeah, Sammy Watkins, is that your big move? Cool. I mean, they got turned down by Juju. It was like, no. Do you want more money? No. But Terrace Marshall, a big-bodied, outside-the-numbers ex-receiver, is going to be really good for Lamar Jackson. 28. So Saints could go in a lot of directions here. Maybe they go quarterback, maybe they go linebacker, maybe they go cornerback or safety or edge, whatever. But Kadarius Toney steps in as a wide receiver 2, and I hate it. I hate this move because Kadarius Toney is a bad dude, man. And he replaces Emmanuel Sanders, really amps up that return game, even though they do have Dante Harris. So, wow. That's a hell of a get. 29, Jamin Davis. Jamin Davis makes his debut in the first round. I haven't seen him project in the first round at all. I think that he's going to be a very solid day 2 selection. He would be my type of guy to replace Anthony Barr long term, but I get it in this spot where you can deploy him in a number of spots in that mixed front on the Packers defense, and maybe eventually he replaces Preston Smith if you have to get rid of him, maybe even Za'Darius, but I don't know. Zaven Collins seems like the better player to me. But, yeah, Packers going in a different direction. 30, Azeez. I freaking love Azeez, man. Baby diet Von Miller just getting after it. So Azeez and AJ Epinesa getting after it on the edge for the Bills long term. Plus they still have Matt Milano in the mix at linebacker. So, yeah, Leslie Frazier and McDermott getting after it. 31. So, yeah, Chiefs offensive line. Jalen Mayfield from Michigan can play tackle, can play guard. Probably going to play tackle since they signed Kyle Long and Jumpin' Joe Thuney. So, Mayfield's a man-child, man. Like, Mayfield is going to be really, really good in a couple years. I like this fit overall. And then 32, I mean, how the hell does this happen? So, the Bucs, they still have JPP. They keep Shaq Barrett. They keep Ndamukong Suh. And then they just add the freakiest of freak big upside edge guys in the draft. How? Like, why? Why? Dude's still on board. So Kyle Trask didn't make it. You thought that maybe he could sneak in, or maybe even Jamie Newman, since the top 5 quarterbacks went in the first 9 picks. No running backs in this one. Etienne and Najee Harris are going to be high second-round picks. Wide receivers still on board. Elijah and Rondale Moore. Rashad Bateman, no go. Freiermuth, no. Freiermuth is going to be good, man. Baby Gronk, let's go. Offensive lineman, Leatherwood, Cosme, Wyatt Davis. Thought maybe Cosme could slide in. Maybe with the Steelers, maybe with the Colts, no go. Boogie Basham. You're starting to see Boogie not making it in too many mock drafts anymore, probably because of the rise of Jason Aweh, but Boogie's still my guy. Asai Onwuzurike, Davion Nixon, Nick Bolton, Zaven Collins didn't make it, Tyson Campbell, Stokes, Asante Samuel Jr. Asante Samuel's going to be a really good player as well, plus no-go on Jevon Holland. But, like we said, I like Rousseau. I get it. Would be fully behind the pick and understand it, but there's a lot of picks. There's a lot of talent on this board, man. For me, in this spot, I would still go Darisaw. AVT would be my second. Actually, no. Would Devontae Smith be my second? Yes, Devontae Smith second, AVT third, Farley 4, Pay 5, Rousseau 6. But again, I get it. You're betting on the upside. And if Rousseau can pan out on 80% of that potential that he has, he's going to be a damn solid player in the National Football League opposite Daniil Hunter. So
The music for the Purple for the Win podcast was created and produced by Deeb. To hear more of his tracks, check out soundcloud.com/Deeb.
We needed to get this right.
Mm-hmm.